Ladies and gentlemen, women and children, people around the world, last night in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 325,000 people converged on the Three River City, right side out of whatever they call that, Heinz Field. It's not Heinz Field anymore, as they had the NFL draft, and 32 men's lives were changed forever, as their families are now going to live off of their backs as they play football. Well, that's kind of what it basically was last night. But we celebrate the NFL draft because that is actually changing lives. It's actually a moment in time where suddenly things are different. And at PayProTec, that's kind of what we try to do. We try to connect with our sales partners. We try to work together with you. And we want to see generational wealth in all of our sales partners. And we come here today to bring you the experts who are really coaching, well, the next generation of sales professionals that are making POS and payments a new world. Bringing up on the screen in the, whoa. Oh, there we go. Went to the wrong button first, and it was saying, but here we go. 3 on the screen, on the right-hand part of your screen from Glenwood Springs, Colorado, with the Rocky Mountain silhouette in the background there, Mr. Danny Shard. Danny, did you watch the NFL draft last night, and what were your basic... What were your takeaways as we saw Fernando Mendoza? Everybody was shocked. He went number 1 to your favorite team, the Las Vegas Raiders.
I actually texted a few people. Wow, this is really zoomed in.
It's close. Hold on. This is what happens when you're setting the fly. Oh, I'm going to help you. Give me a second here. I got it. Here we go. 3-shot while I figure that piece out. Hold on.
Back it off.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. So,
I think I hate the Raiders more than I love the Broncos, and I said that to a couple people. I've really liked Mendoza. I mean, what he did was an amazing last year. I mean, never see anything like it. I'm sure Brian Leakey will talk about him, I bet. And but to see him go to my all-time nemesis is disheartening. And then on top of that, to see, and Nate, I'm sure you'll love this, to see that the Ohio State Buckeyes had 3 of the first 7 is, I don't know, unfair. How did they not win the national championship last year? Is kind of what I want to know.
They cheated.
I will say Ryan Day there was just like disturbing as well. His face was all red, and he's there.
How's he not fired?
Right? What's he doing?
They fired him directly after the draft. They should have fired him.
Correct.
Directly after the 3 out of the first 7.
Exactly right.
You can't win every game. What?
That's exactly right.
It's and I was very glad as a Michigan fan that they didn't break Michigan State's record, which was 4 of the top 10 that there was, or there was possibility they could tie them, and they got 4 out of the top 11. So hey, to their respect, they have some really, really good players. But it takes a team to win. And, when was the last time Ohio State won a Big Ten championship? It's been a while. Can't remember. And IU beat them this past year. Before that, Michigan won 3 times in a row. We'll just live with that. Yes, they did get 1 national championship out of there, so we'll figure that out. All right, Brian Linke, how is your people have lived worse there, Brian? What in the world? Okay, Oliver. All right.
Oh my God! What is this? Fright night?
It is. I don't know what's going on.
Like right up on my face, Nate.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but
the Tampa Bay Bucks stole one last night. They got Ruben Bain, the linebacker from Miami, and he was supposed to be taken way before that they drafted, and some crazy things happened where like the Rams took the kid from Alabama and they've got a Hall of Fame MVP quarterback, and they took another quarterback, and Ruben Bain going to Tampa Bay was he's going to be there for a long time. Stud.
He is. All right, so I can't figure out. It's something with your phone, and I'm figuring that out live. So we're going to keep on the 3-shot a lot today, unless I figure that out. But
we're doing it a little freestyle this morning. I had a presentation I was working on at home, and I'm halfway to the office, left my computer, and I didn't want to leave the high five hanging, and so the show must go on. So we figure it out.
We're figuring it out. And I'm figuring it out on the fly here as we go. But we've got all three of them. Brian's internet's a little foggy today, but we can hear him, and he just kind of looks a little pixelated there. But
I do.
You do, but that's all right. That's all right. I don't know
The
what
show must go
go on. We're making we hear you and you see you, so it's yeah. Hey, the internet will kick back in here in a little bit. All right, so here what we're going to talk. Today we're talking about some key objections that our partners are hearing all the time, and where we can coach and help you out with some ideas of things, the objections. So we're going to start probably the 5 most common objections. I don't know. I didn't do a study. I just kind of picked the ones I hear the most. So we'll see what you guys think and if I missed any of them. But the number one objection, and we're going to start with what I know is number one objection, is my customers, when they walk in, you present them with Edge, you talk about how they, can charge a card price and a non-card price and a cash price. And they say, nah, my customers are going to leave me if I ever do that. And we hear that all the time. And in fact, I think we actually speak it into existence sometimes. I don't even know that the actually objection is actually going to come. We just think it's going to come. So we do that. But it is a real thing. We certainly merchants have said that and so let's go. Danny, what would be your first reply to our partners when they hear that and they're saying, man, I'm going to lose customers. I can't charge them more when they use their cards. It just will never work. What's your first back? What do you do for that?
Well, I think you said it right there, Nate, where it's you got to change how you say it. You got to change the mentality of the merchant, right? And first, you got to change your mentality too, because if you're going in kind of expecting them to say no, or you're kind of willing that into existence, which I think us as salespeople kind of talk ourselves out of as many deals as we talk ourselves into. It's one of those things that that the mindset is what is going to really kind of set that apart. So where I'm at home and my dog is going absolutely bananas.
What kind of a show do we get? What's going on here?
The show must go on, Brian. So it is with that one, I always talk about, and like you just said, Nate, where we got to take the conversation away from paying more with a credit card and how they're going to be paying less with cash, right? And that mindset switch does a ton with the conversation. When you pair that with the savings, when you pair that with some of the better technology that they're going to get, and changing the customer's mentality, but changing the merchant's mentality, right? That we're going to save whenever our customers are going to save when they're paying in cash, and not when not paying more when they're paying with a card. That's the kicker for me. If we talk about paying more when paying with a card, we're gonna get that response a significant amount more times.
Yeah, Brian, what would you add? What do you talk when you hear this every day? What do you say?
Okay, well, let me add this. You walk in, you act like you're looking at your phone. You look up and you're like, oh my God. Oh my God. Do you realize that gas is now over $6 a gallon? Okay, so right away, you're putting it right in the merchant's head, okay, because he knows he can't afford $6 a gallon.
Yep.
Okay, so now, okay, he's thinking, well, wait a minute, $6 a gallon, how am I getting to work? Well, okay, you know what? I've got a small little way that I can help you. Now you got him.
There. All right. So swinging it to the positive and helping them figure out that, hey, it's yes, one, you're not going to lose customers. I think at the end of the day is when we were doing this in 2016, we couldn't say with confidence you're not going to lose customers. We didn't think they were going to lose customers. We can say it with confidence now. That Correct. We have set up tens of thousands of merchants across the U.S. There are hundreds of thousands of merchants doing this in the U.S. through all of us and all of our competitors out there. And we're not turning back. Customers aren't leaving. The businesses are still thriving. Volumes are going up. Hey, you know what? That's no longer an objection. You can just overcome that with confidence, and you can walk out the door and walk back in and say, "Look, I'm going to come back in 2 weeks. When you think about it, but I can guarantee you that you won't lose. If you would switch to this, you won't lose customers. You're going to gain. In fact, you're going to gain volume because you're putting money back in your pocket." What are you going to say, Brian?
Well, Nate, the thing about it is, from a business acumen, okay, just from a business standpoint, I mean, if you're running a business and we're looking to make money in this business because, again, everything is going up in price like crazy numbers, then I mean, it's a no-brainer. So, like, yeah, you know what? You may lose 3 or 4, okay, the margins you're working off of are, I mean, you just need to get the guy to tell you that. Like the margins he's working off of are what, 3-5%. Well, now he's starting to think a little bit, and let him do the talking. You don't have to talk. Let him do the talking.
Yep. All right.
So,
objection number 2. It's just too much work to change. And I think that's something we hear, especially when you're working in places where they're putting, you're putting into a POS, like a restaurant or a liquor store or things where it is increased effort to do that. And it's too much work to change. Brian, you're walking into a liquor store. You've sold them on the ideas of going edge pricing. They're now convinced, but they're like, I just don't want to make the change. It's way too much work. Brian, what are you going to say to them?
I'm going to say, it's crazy because we actually used to suck at point of sale. Okay, to be honest with you, we really did. And if I was standing in here 12 years ago, I'm not really sure I could overcome this objection. But now we've got our own division called POS Pros. They have their own building in Indianapolis. They've got professional point of sale people in there that are strictly working off of salaries. We don't pay them a residual. Their job is to help you close point of sale deals. We are going to put them directly in touch with you to do all the legwork. And I'm going to take a step back and watch them work. And then if need be, you need me to step in and do something, I'm here for you.
There you go. All right, Danny Shard, what do you say you now? And by the way, I've got a single shot that is not right up your nose. So there you go. I figured
I like
it out.
that. All right.
There we go.
I like that. I like what Brian said, and I would take the opposite and both work, right? Yeah, the POS Pros, and we used to suck at POS. That's funny, but that's true. A lot of companies did. I would say something. I thought Brian was going to say something a little funnier, and I would say something like, "Are you still using the old flip phone, right? Or are you still driving that old, '88 Cadillac Eldorado, right? The answer is no, right? We're constantly changing, we're constantly updating and evolving. Don't let your business sit here in what you're comfortable with and not taking advantage of new technology and programs like dual pricing. Because in a year or two, you're going to finally realize that you need to change, and you could have been saving all of this money the whole time, and you already could have had it implemented. I also like talking about how we're going to take on more, right? So Brian said, I'm going to let the POS Pros team do their thing. I'm going to step back. I like, a lot of our partners, dive in, right? And they're there, right? So where the merchant says it's too much work, say, let that burden be on me, right? So I will work with the POS Pros team. I will work with the vendor. I will work on your inventory. I'm going to be here every step of the way, making it easy for you. And so
The reason I
like
don't
that
say that,
extra,
Dan, the reason I
I
don't say
get,
that is because I know
it's
the
not for
merchant knows
everybody.
that. Well, no, the reason I don't say that is because I know the merchant knows that I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
That's not an answer everybody can give. I get it.
Okay, believe
But
me, I use it all the time.
There you go.
But that is how we stand out, right? And in our business, in us as sales partners, as salespeople, to our merchants, the way that we are going to differentiate is that white glove type of service, right? Now, whether you can do it or not, even though Brian might not be able to run the technology or to do some of the things like with the inventory, Brian's still going to be there every step of the way, putting the puzzle pieces together, talking to so and so. I mean, facilitating. He's a facilitator. And that's okay, right? Your engagement, your involvement, being there is what a lot of these merchants want, and it's what a lot of these competitors that are really kind of nipping at our heels, or we're nipping at theirs, however you want to say it. They're just not able to do that consistently. And so if we can be there and provide them with similar or better technology and programs that are going to eliminate their fees, we're going to win every time.
Well, the thing is, too, Dan. One of the things that I tell people, it's not so much that I mean, we did suck at POS. I mean, because all a salesperson wants to do is sell, right? All they want to do is sell stuff. They don't want to learn anything. They don't want to see how it works. Now we've taken a step back. We've spent a ton of money on the POS Pros team, right? I mean, if you think about it, we're paying salaries. We've got a building. We've got to pay a lease. We've got to pay inventory. We've got to pay a phone system. Okay, it's mind-boggling how much money it costs. Okay, but we've invested in that to help the merchant, make that decision because we were tired of RMA numbers, shipping labels, right? Because 9 out of 10, we're going back. We won't send anything out without doing a live demo, okay, which I think is a huge thing, right? Because now the merchant is on the call, knows what the machine looks like, knows what color it is, knows how it works, knows how many kitchen printers they're getting, know how many, whatever. And now getting him the system or whatever is now a moot point because now that the deal's done, he knows exactly what it is that he's getting.
Yep.
That's a really good point, Brian, because the demos that these merchants can be on, they get to see it, touch it, feel it. They get a chance to ask questions. And when you do that, you want it, right? So, Nate, that response a lot of times doesn't end up coming up if we're setting the merchant up with something new because everybody loves new gadgets, new toys, right? And everybody, wants to enhance their business, especially if we can do it at little to no cost to them. So the fact
Right.
that they get to see it before they commit to it and before they could even get a chance to say, it's too much work, um, that doesn't come into their brain because they see it and they like it and they see how much it's going to help their business.
Well, and I think you can say to them, one of the things, depending on what you're in, if you're in a restaurant or liquor store, I for some reason always picture liquor stores because it is a lot of, it is a lot of work to load in a whole new set of inventory and 100,000 SKUs. But you simply say, look, would you be willing to give us 16 weeks, which is what generally it takes a liquor store to get up and running, fully up and doing, to make the next 5 years of your life so much easier? And if you focus on that and focus on what it's going to feel like on the opposite end, yes, admit that it's going to be a little bit of work. But we also have a trained team that's done tens of thousands of businesses, and we have a streamlined system of how we're going to get your liquor store up and running. I think you can provide confidence and then help make sure they're looking down the road. Yes, is it going to be a little bit of extra work right now? Yes. But are you going to be able to take 2 weeks extra vacation next year because you do a little bit of work now? Yes, also. So next,
let me tell you something.
Yeah.
It was a lot of bit of work for us to get the POS Pros team on board, situated in an office, and but we pulled it all together and we did it for you. That's why we did it because we didn't know what we were doing and we knew we needed some help.
Yep. All right. Next objection we've all had, and I'm gonna call this the Brian Linke objection. I've already got a guy. And maybe that guy, maybe they already have a person, that's their merchant services person. I've been with them for 7 years. I'm not going to make any changes. I've got a person to take care of. And Brian, I know you have a lot of guys in your life because you've got a guy to do this and do that. And a lot of our merchants that we walk in the door, they say they have a guy. They already have a gal. They already have somebody that's doing it and they don't want to make a change because they've got their person. So unless it's their, direct relative and it's their wife is their guy, which you may not be overcome, but if you can overcome, I want to hear the story because you're a big winner. But Brian, how are you going to overcome when they already have a person they like?
Well. I mean, that's a tricky question, and it's a tricky response because I'm always the guy who's got a guy, right? So I get it, okay. So and I respect it, and if I'm going to sit here and try to hard close you, I'm probably going to embarrass myself, to be honest. I get it, and you know what, the fact that you're staying, true to your guy, again, I respect it. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to leave you with this. If you can get me a statement, let me just go do an analysis for you. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything. Okay, no strings attached. Let me do an analysis. I'll be back here in 3 or 4 days, and I'll drop it off. And I just want you to take a look at it. And if it makes sense for you, then so be it. And if not, we'll shake hands. We'll be friends, and hopefully, maybe somewhere down the line, you know, we might be able to do something because again, but I respect the fact that you're staying loyal to your guy, because I would want my guy to stay loyal to me.
How about you, Danny Shard? What do you say?
I couldn't have answered that any better. And honestly, I
Dan,
think
I'm
that's
pretty
going to
good.
win them
Okay, I'm
over.
I'm pretty
Okay,
good as you're
that's
learning.
really good. That's really good. And
As
I
you're
give
learning,
credit where
Dan, I'm
credit
pretty
is
good.
due.
There,
Very good. At the end of the day, you don't want to oversell yourself, right? You don't want to try to try to find something negative about their guy, right? About their person. Brian said it perfect, right? Just plant the seed. You're there if anything happens. Let us do an analysis, and hey, if you want to stay with your guy, maybe I can give you the tools and resources to improve your fees a little bit because your quote unquote guy is overcharging you. Things like that, I think, really help get you the deal down the road if anything were to happen. Because let me tell you something, in this business, something always happens, right? So being there to catch them when they fall is important, right? So planting the seeds and not overstepping in a scenario like that is I think that's the best way to go, right? You start to oversell, then you could possibly lose them now and not have a chance of getting them in the future.
Well, the other thing is too is if you start, I'm not really big on bad mouthing anybody, okay? Because once you start
That's a
oh
bad
yeah,
huge
mouthing
thing
other
for me.
people, first of all, it's extremely unprofessional, okay? You're lowering yourself down to the lowest level, because you're just bashing the other guy. I never really talk about the other guy, and when I'm recruiting people, the one question I will never ask is, "Hey, what are you getting now? Hey, what are you getting now?" I don't, you know what? I don't care what you're getting. Okay, I don't care what if you have industry experience, blah blah blah. You want to move some accounts, so whatever it is, or you know what? I've never done this before. Okay, I mean, not everybody's treated the same way, but I'm not asking you what you're getting now, because to be honest with you, I don't care. Okay, here's what I know that I can offer you. Okay, are we moving forward, or you know what? Again, I'll shake your hand through the screen, and we'll go our separate ways.
I love it. I think that's it's at the end of the day. I love what you're saying. Don't badmouth them. We just can't. And I'm afraid a lot of times we're like, well, do they do this? Do they do that? Sell yourself. Don't sell against other
That's
people.
exactly right.
And your
Right.
long term, that's just what you got to do. And if they walk in and they have a person, they're loyal, you know what? It may be a longer term sale. You're not going to probably close them right then, but keep trying. If it's a merchant that you think has value, keep showing how your value may set yourself apart. And you pop in 6 times over a 6-month period when they don't even see their guy. You never know what might do it. And but if bad mouthing will never get you there, and ultimately it'll just it's just creating a bad environment, and that juju is not going to be in a good space for you.
I
Yeah,
agree.
and part of winning the sale is just not losing the sale right now, right? You might not win it, but you can definitely lose it today.
Yep.
Yeah.
And planting the seeds, you know, focusing on the things that you're good at, and highlighting what you're good at, and not highlighting what you're identifying that they're short-sighted on, right? I mean, Brian, you said it great, and it's one of those things that I think a lot of us as salespeople need to remember. We want that sale, but don't put yourself in a position to lose the sale. Make sure that you constantly stay in that winning position, whether it be now or in the future.
Yep.
Well,
All
the
right,
other
we're
thing
gonna.
is too, you know what? It's okay, right? you're not going to get them all. You're not going to sell them all. It's okay. I mean, that's why, Nate and I actually had a conversation this morning about, how many times you've been told no in your life. Okay. And like, if you're a salesperson, it's a far greater number than you've been told yes. A far greater number. I mean, it's a mind-boggling number compared to how many yeses you've gotten. Okay, so listen, it's okay. Let's move on to the next. I mean, this is the way it goes.
All right, last one we're going to cover, and I think this is probably part of most conversations, and I think there's multiple ways to handle this. But when you're going in and you're making that sales pitch and you ask the final and you're getting them to the close, you're asking for a yes or no, and they come back to you and they simply, I think I just need some time to think about it. And we hear that. Brian Linke, how do you respond when somebody says they need time to think about it? And how do you respond in person, and what are your actions to follow up going to be?
Again, slippery slope. That question,
I
it's.
agree. I agree.
I mean, Nate, that's a great question. Okay, because again, you don't want to come across as you're begging, right? You're desperate. Okay, because we're not. Right? Call it like it is. We're not desperate. Okay, so me, in my opinion, I've always been one to be like, okay, listen, you know what? I respect the fact that you want to take a couple days. I'm leaving you the analysis. I'm leaving it right here. I want you to take a look at it. Here's my business card. I'll talk to you in a week. Okay, and you call them back in a week, because if you don't do it that way, like Danny just said, that's how you lose the sale. You may not
Yep.
you may not win the sale. Okay, they may think about it, and if you give people too much time, Dan, what did we say the other day when we were doing the loan thing? It was time kills deals, right? Time kills deals. I get it. Okay, that's why you can't give them too much time, right? But if they're asking for time, all you can do is respect it and come back in 3 days, 4 days, a week, whatever it is, and see how it goes.
How about you, Danny? What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. But as salespeople, we don't want to let it marinate, right? Because after the work that we've put in to do the analysis, maybe do a POS demo, show them different equipment options, really dig into their business, right? And identifying what their processes are, the features that they need, all of these things. Kind of like you dot every I, cross every T, and they give you that answer. What happens and what we think is we're going to lose momentum, right? And like Brian said, time kills deals. Well, what we're saying too is that excitement that you've just created and all the good things that we're going to be able to provide is going to kind of mellow out as time increases. So, but Brian's exactly right. You can't be pushy. And it's one of those things that you can talk yourself out of a deal by pushing forward too much and saying, this deal won't last, right? You got to move forward today, or else we're not offering these types of programs next
Yeah,
week.
let's try that one.
Yeah. Let's see how that works out for you. It's just not
Right.
that it's just never been something that I would encourage, and it's just not the best sales tactic in my opinion. It's
Be a
backing people into
professional.
a corner, and nobody wants to feel like they're backed into a corner,
Be a
right?
professional. Nobody's that desperate. We're all
That's right.
making money. You hit enough doors, you talk to enough people, okay? You're going to close some deals. The biggest issue, and I talk to Pamela Bailey about this every single day, is that these people that we're recruiting, it's not that they can't do it. It's not that they're not getting out and getting in front of people every single day. And I can't do any better of a job of making sure people realize, okay, this is what the job entails. And if you're not willing to get out there in front of people every single day, I don't care how much knowledge you have. I don't care how much, if we're not talking to people every single day, we're not going to succeed. And, it sounds like it. Okay, yeah, sure. I can. Okay, you know what? That's the thing, is that we're struggling to find those special people, because that's what it takes.
Yep.
And when you walk out that door or you put the phone down after they've said they want some time, your next action is going to be what they remember. And so remember
That's
that
right.
you've got to follow up. I think what happens to so many is they hear that and they walk away, and then they follow up a month later or 6 weeks later. No, you need to follow up, and you need to set the expectation. I'm going to call you 1 week from today, or I'll be back here next Tuesday. Whatever is the right place, and you kind of got to feel that out. If it's a really busy business and you just took 20 minutes of their time and they've been answering 15 questions while they're doing it, take that into and say, okay, next Tuesday I'm coming in. I'm going to do that. So,
Right.
All right. What did I miss any of the biggest obstacles? Is there any obstacle that I missed before we close out this high five for the
Nate,
last Friday of April?
Those were very hard questions. Very
So
hard.
there you go.
Those were good ones. A lot of our sales partners listening right now, I bet you've all heard every excuse in the book, right? And I'm sure you all have your top 4 or 5, um, you know, excuses that seem to be coming up more than others. And I think the common theme that I'm hearing here from Brian and that I'm and Nate and that I'm coming up with myself, and a lot of these is just stay genuine and don't be pushy, be a professional, and don't talk yourself out of deals. Winning the deal might be getting the deal in the future. It's just not losing the deal today.
I
Right. So
love
there's a
that.
lot
Yep.
of objections that you don't have to necessarily overcome to get the deal closed today. It's overcoming the objection to keep the merchant in your pipeline and stay that solid, that positive person for them when they're ready, and you're going to get the business.
Love that. Yep. You just don't force the no when you don't need to.
That's right.
Make sure you got to
That's right.
keep moving on. All right. And I do like, at some point, maybe we'll have says next high five, Linky needs to be broadcasting from the beach. I'm not against that as long as the
Nate.
Speedo doesn't come out. We just
I might change
gotta,
my background every week. We'll see. Like maybe I'll do. Maybe I'll be by the river next week.
There we
We'll
go.
see.
I do. You know how often because that Colorado River is one of the most peaceful things in the world. I say you just got to go out there and be by it, being able to walk by that river. I'm jealous all the
I'm
time.
actually headed down to Benchmark International here in a few hours to. They have the pavilion there in front of the arena, and there's, I don't know, 30, 40 restaurants and bars. It's a circus. I mean, it's more fun, I swear to you, than going into the game. And we're playing in Montreal, but I always get envious of those people. When I'm going in, I almost would rather be out there because they're having more fun than we are in the game. But so for away games, they put it up on all these, I don't know how many big screens they have, but there's 7 or 8 of them. And yeah, all the bars are open. You know, people are drinking in the streets, eating, blah, blah, blah. I'm all about it.
Awesome. Hey, well, Brian Linky's going to be cheering the Lightning onto victory. I don't even, what is that series with the kid? What is it at? I don't even, is it
1-1.
1-1. Okay. I didn't know if I missed. I'm just now starting to pick up my paying attention to hockey. I didn't get to go to a hockey game this year. So
we blew the first one. We blew it, but came back in the second one and stole one from them. We were losing the whole game, but Montreal's a good team. I mean, they're a good team. I didn't realize that the coach from Montreal used to play for the Lightning.
Yep.
St. Louis or something his name is, I think. Or yeah, they're a really good team. So we're trying to split one in Montreal. If we can get one in Montreal, we've got home ice and we should be feeling pretty good about that. So.
I'll tell you who the good team is: the Colorado Avalanche. Look out!
Again, they're playing the worst team.
Well, hey, I mean
that's what you get when you're the number one seed.
When you're the best. You're right.
I get it.
Right.
Believe me, that's why all these guys are making. Okay, the Cubs won 9 games in a row. Did you see who they beat for the 9 games?
the two losingest teams,
the Mets
but
and the Phillies. They're the worst teams in the league.
Hey, we have the real choice tonight. 10-10. We got the Dodgers, at out there at Dodger Stadium. So we'll
And
see
if
what's
anybody's
real.
watching the
Okay, they sweep them. I'm a believer.
There,
if
absolutely.
anybody if anybody's watching the NBA playoffs, I'm a big Rockets fan, so hopefully we can do something to beat the Lakers. We got to pull one out, and then and also SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder might be exactly what is wrong with the NBA today. I'll leave everybody with that. Jerry Pierce, if you're listening, we're just not a Thunder fan, and this whole SGA flop debacle, get every call, is the worst thing that's happened to basketball. But hopefully the right things happen.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm a
Couple
big
more
Knicks
comments.
fan, why does Jalen Brunson have to shoot the ball every single time down the stretch in the fourth quarter? I don't get it, but whatever.
Laka says Danny needs to broadcast from the golf course, and Mr. Korthal
Right out
says
there.
that's why the golf course is not far from where Danny is right now, and that's why we have to broadcast before 3 p.m. so that Danny can get to the golf course. Which, hey, the golf courses I'm assuming are open, right? Are they officially open now?
Oh,
Yet?
they've been open for a few weeks now, and you're exactly right, Nick. For those who work really hard during the week, Friday afternoons, hopefully you're playing 9 holes or doing something fun. Like Brian's going to be about 6 beers deep here by 3 p.m. So, yeah, it's going to be a good
You know
weekend.
me
I
well.
hope everybody
You know
has an
me well,
awesome one.
Dan. You know me well.
I will say this: I went to Top Golf, or a place called Back Nine, but it's just like a Top Golf here in Indy last week. And I went with my son Patrick, and it was just the two of us. So we had a bay, and I reserved the bay for 2 hours. My daughter was at prom, and so we were just. And I was so sore. I'd never played the amount of swings we took in 2 hours. I was like, I'm an idiot. My shoulders still haven't responded back from that, because I was like,
Right?
usually I go with a group of 10 and you swing like every 10 minutes and you're like talking and we just hit and hit and hit. But it was fun. A lot of fun. It is golf weather and it's
fun.
beautiful. It's that time of year. All right. We will be off next week. Danny will be doing some traveling, and we'll be back with a special Mother's Day edition on May 8th in 2 weeks as we celebrate our mothers. And hey, I hope everybody has a great weekend. On behalf of Danny Shard, Brian Linke, I'm Nate Manahan. We love you guys. High five, everybody.
High five, everybody.
Bye-bye. Go.